Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they can't survive the season where nothing feels impressive. We've been told they lie, that progress has to be dramatic. But the truth, consistency is a grind, pure boredom. It's a mechanical repetition of the basics. That is exactly why it separates the people who build foundations from the people who just try. The first time consistency defined my life, it didn't look ambitious. It looked like a compromise. I was fresh off a 9-month deployment. Every check was untouched. For a young E2, thousands of dollars felt like infinite money. On the ship, the energy changed the second we hit the pier back in home port from deployment. It was a race to see who could get rid of their money the fastest. New trucks, new cars, fresh paint, high interest loans. We were all young, some of us still teenagers. And let's be real, you want status at that age. You want to attract women. And at that age, cars was a thing. It was like a worm on a hook to get the biggest catch. It builds your bravado. It's a flex. You see in the music videos. I had that same urge, but I had a filter my shipmates did not have. I grew up in the inner city of Atlanta. There, we didn't always have the means for dealerships. We brought old cars and fixed them up. It was an economic lesson I didn't even realize I was learning. Income can change much faster than a lifestyle. Coming off deployment, my shipmates had a stick in their brain telling them they were rich. But I knew I couldn't replenish that money at home as fast as I earned it on deployment. So I brought an old school car, cash. It was conservative, it was invisible, it met my 3 requirements. It started, it stopped, it moved. I added a solid sound system because I love music, but that was it. No rims, no custom paint. I understood that money can only go as far before it burns out. A year later, the boring choices became my superpower. My shipmates were thinning out between car notes, insurance, and gas. They were in a constant state of calculation. Their acceleration was actually a drag. One lesson my father always taught me growing up: save 25 cents out of every dollar. Because I had no car note, I could actually do that. But that car didn't just save me money, it expanded my thinking. I watched how the flashy lifestyle led my friends into a corner. They had no choice. Their bling was like a leash. My boring consistency was building a floor, a foundation for the future. I was preparing for a phase in my life that required a solid financial ground to stand on: marriage. When I moved into marriage, I didn't enter it with the urgent pressure of debt. Most young couples start in the hole: 2 car notes, credit cards, trying to look successful, and spend 10 years trying to climb out of that hole. Because of that boring car and those boring habits, my marriage had insulation. When the storm of real life hit, we weren't shaking. We weren't fighting over flashy. We were building on the foundation I started in the military. That boring consistency gave us the one thing money couldn't usually buy: peace. I carried that same mindset into my career. When I entered the workforce, I wanted a different role. I applied, I was rejected. Some people take rejection as an identity. I took it as a syllabus. I looked at the requirements for the people who did get the job. They had specific exposure I did not have. So I went to work on my credentials to gain that exposure. While others complained about favoritism or timing, I volunteered for projects that didn't look glamorous. The documentation that no one wanted to write. The extra meetings that no one wanted to attend. The assignments that required extra hours for zero public praise. Boring work compounds. I added criteria to my resume, one boring line at a time. No applause, no announcements. I didn't argue with the system. I qualified for it by being the person that could handle the boring better than anyone else. Eventually, the rejection changed into acceptance because I had outworked the flashy competition in the dark. Consistency doesn't feel like domination. Most of the time, it feels like being average. It feels like driving that old school car when everyone else is in the flashy new school. But consistency creates leverage. It gives you the room to think when everyone else is panicked. Most people quit the moment the system becomes boring. But at that time precisely is when it starts to compound. The work doesn't need to thrill you. It just needs to continue long enough to separate you. Consistency isn't drama. It's a decision. Stop looking for the spike. Start building the floor.